Just a Bit Outside.
Welcome to both Footprints in American History and Just a Bit Outside channel. Now, the original plan was to do different videos. However, I had quite an experience that I wanted to talk to you guys about. People suggested that I put this video on both channels, so I actually felt it was a good idea also. Now, what has happened is that I've had to deal with some issues. It started out with swallowing issues back in April, kept getting worse, and to the point where I was having major problems. People would tell me, you need to go see a doctor about this. Biopsies started coming back with results that I did not like. Long story short, the last month I've dealt with issues like just crazy. And then this past week, I spent 6 days at Tampa General Hospital. And that's the purpose of this video, what you don't know about cancer. But it's actually not just what you don't know about cancer, it's what you don't know about anything where you get hospitalized for any length of time. Because what I've discovered is it is an eye-opener. Now, you need to understand where I'm coming from. I'm 60 years old. I am not a kid. I went a long time between hospital stays. So I had no idea. You know, it's one thing when you're the guy sitting next to the hospital bed. When you're sitting next to the hospital bed, talking to the person who's in the bed. What I discovered in this eye-opener is it's a whole different ballgame when you are the person actually in the bed. Now, the last time I had stayed in a hospital overnight, this will give you an idea how long it had been for me, was 1972. I'd broken my arm. I was a kid. 1972, I'd broken my arm. They took me to the hospital and they kept me overnight. I don't remember the reason why, but 1970s to now, things have changed since then, 2024. So they put me in the hospital, and what I discovered was it was a whole different story being this different person who's not being visited, but the person or not who is being visited as opposed to doing the visiting. Now, I wanted to kind of tell you a little bit about those experiences. These swallowing issues got worse. Now, what they told me was I was going to have a feeding tube inserted, and it is, and I don't know if you can see the machine behind me, but I'm on a feeding machine even as we speak right now. In addition to that, they also put in, and you'll see a picture of it, they put in right in here, there's a little port for chemo. So they think it's stage 3 cancer. I'm believing that God has healed me. I'm not going to lie. I believe that God's going to heal me, that I'm going to come out of this on top, and that my life will be fine. I will go on, but I have to walk through some things. That's what I'm believing is going to happen. So in the meantime, last Monday, I'm going to Tampa General Hospital. They have to give me a ride because they're going to put me under to put this stuff in. Now, I thought it was going to be a simple outpatient procedure. Good thing I gave my neighbor a key to watch my cat in case I got admitted. I didn't think I was going to. My brother, who's a nurse, has been staying with this cat. He's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Randy. So I go into the hospital. I'm in the prep room. Now I've got that flimsy gown on, the one where your butt sticks out back and you're pretty much naked. It's not fun underneath that gown. So I'm in there and I'm waiting to get taken out to the surgery room. And I start talking to the doctor. His name is Dr. Daniel. And he tells me, no, you're going to be admitted. This is not outpatient. You're not going to be out this afternoon. You're going to be admitted. So what's going to happen is you're going to be here 2 to 3 days. That actually turned out to be 6 days. So what I want to do is I want to explain all the eye-opening and wacky procedures and all the things that I had to go through during that time to kind of give you a little compassion for the people that are dealing with this, because you're going to learn a lot. It's different from what you expect. Now, my mother had breast cancer back in 2000. I was not able to visit her back then because I was out in Colorado. I didn't have the money to come back. However, I have visited a lot of people since then. So this also applies to if you have a friend that's got like a major injury, or maybe like they're just in hospital for a couple days because maybe some kind of broken leg or other injury, some kind of sickness that does not include cancer. There's a million things. But let me just tell you, you're going to get an eye-opener as I speak about this. Now, you might actually find a few of these things amusing. So let's go into a little bit about what happened. Now, first of all, if you looked at the thumbnail picture, which will be posted again, I had a thing in my nose. Okay, when I woke up from the surgery, shortly after that, I ended up in a room, and they've got this thing in my nose. And what happened was it went all the way down to my stomach. The doctor said that he found underneath this mass, this is esophageal mass, he discovered there was so much saliva and blood in my stomach, he had to suck it out. And he had to go through a lot of trouble. So that's what this thing was doing. Even while I was in the bed, this thing's sucking it out. Now, here's the thing. It's rubbing up against the back of my esophagus, and it hurt. Oh my gosh, you want to talk about hurting. It felt like I had strep throat. Now, the next day, the nurse came and she took it out. Well, I was great after that. It almost immediately, the soreness went away. So, but I'm dealing with this, and I'm having to deal with pain. Now, on top of that, they've got me attached to a feeding machine. And they're telling me I'm going to be on a liquid diet for quite a while. Now, I had already been on a liquid diet for close to 5 weeks going into this hospital. 5 weeks. So I have not eaten solid food in a very long time. You better believe I'd like to go to Checkers or Texas Roadhouse or someplace like that. Oh my gosh, cheesesteak sub. Oh yeah, I could go for any of those. However, I'm on a liquid diet. Now I'm on this feeding tube and I'm having to deal with this. So they put me in this hospital room and, I'm dealing with this sore throat. First of all, they put me on something. They told me as far as my diet goes, it was NPO. Now, I had already had to fast before I went in for that biopsy. Tomorrow, before I go in for a PET scan, I have to fast before I do that. So they put me on, they tell me it's NPO. It means nothing per order. So that first day, I either got these little, it looked like a lollipop thing with like a little swab on the back, on the end of it. You could dip it in the water. You could put it in your mouth to water it, to wet it. I was basically dipping and swallowing every bit of water I could. But you could also have something called ice chips. Now that's basically, if you ever go to Wawa, the little tiny ice cubes about that big. That's what I had. They were giving me the ice cubes. That was all I wanted. Let me tell you what, I actually got addicted to it. It's basically ice water. And I'm actually still doing it even after being out of the hospital now. I love these ice chips. Plus on top of that, you're not getting any calories and it tastes good. I enjoy it. But that's what I was stuck on for the first day. Now, a day or two later, they put me in and they take me in for another exam. And they put me on this thing which kind of go like this, and I have an X-ray machine, and they made me drink this. It wasn't barium, it was called graphite, and they said the barium actually tastes better. If barium tastes better, that's pretty amazing because barium or this graphite was the nastiest thing I've ever tasted. I had to drink it. What it would do is it kind of light up things for the X-ray, so they kind of get an idea of the mass. Now they put in my throat a couple of stents to open up the esophagus area so I could swallow. So what happened was they discovered that, yes, the stents are working. They're basically two little bands like that in my esophagus. So they realized, okay, he's swallowing okay. So I go back to the room after the X-rays. Now, I got to be honest, at this point, I'm dealing with a mattress that's incredibly hard. I can't sleep on that sucker. It was brutal. They even brought in a couple of days after I got admitted this other mattress. It was about that thick. It was kind of an air mattress. And it was more soft. It was, I will give credit. I found, in the area between here, right here, where the bed does like this, I put my tailbone in there because my back, especially around the tailbone, especially in the lower back, but the tailbone, that's where I was experiencing the most pain. And they were giving me morphine. I think they said 40, or I can't remember how many milligrams, but that wasn't even helping that much. It helped a little bit, I actually joked with the nurse. I said, if you could bring something stronger, I said, if you walk in the room and you say hello to my little friend, I would have taken it because I hated the pain. I don't care what it would have, but I would have, say hello to your little friend. Absolutely. So it was painful. It was very painful. But then they upgraded me from nothing per order to clear liquid diet. Now, what that meant was that I could have broths, chicken broth, vegetable broth, beef broth, chicken bone broth was my favorite, and still is. So I could have Jello, I could have, different kinds of drinks like cranberry juice, apple juice, so on. And I've been drinking that like crazy. This is cranberry juice right here in my cup. So I'm in there and I'm dealing with this pain. Now here's a part that most of you will not experience if you ever have to be that person in the bed, because that's what this video is about, being the person in the bed. So I want you to have compassion for these people because they're not getting much sleep. It's bad enough every night you have a nurse coming in and time for your vitals, and they wrap that thing around, take your blood pressure, stick a little thing on your finger here, and then they even came in sometimes, they would do a bladder scan where they put this thing on your lower stomach right around the waist area, and they would put this gel on and put this thing that was like an ultrasound, see if they could detect your bladder. Why they did it with me, no clue. Now I will tell you is that when you're hooked to one of these, you can't exactly just get up and go to the bathroom anytime you want. You have to call the nurse's station to come over and unhook you. Now that's kind of frustrating because you got to wait on them. Plus you're bothering them. I was lucky. I was on the 9th floor, had a great view of Hillsborough Bay from up there. I could see Davis Islands a little bit. Look one direction, you can see the flight line of MacDill Air Force Base. Plus on top of that, just beautiful sunrises and sunsets. It was great. However, I don't want to disturb these nurses on this floor because, they've got enough things. So a lot of times men, you're going to know what this is. I'd have to use this. A lot of times during the night, pop it open, do my business, and to save them some trouble, but not always, because I still needed to get up and walk around. Actually, the first 2 or 3 days, they put these things on my lower legs, right around the ankle area, and what it would do is it kind of squeeze, almost massage my lower legs, my calves. And what it was is that they were worried about me not moving enough because I'm stuck in this bed, especially with the feeding tube. So they wanted to make sure there was no blood clotting. Well, that ended up not being a problem because I would get up still. I couldn't walk around. I couldn't do a lot when I was attached to this feeding tube, especially even though the thing behind me where the feeding tube was coming from this direction, it was kind of in a way that I couldn't just take it with me. So I had to be detached from it sometimes. So it was not comfortable. It was not comfortable, but at least I had these things to help with the blood clots. So there was my neighbor, and this is going to be a little bit more a humorous part. His name, he went by, the name Taylor. Big, large African-American guy. He probably played football or basketball. This guy was massive. He was bigger than his bed pretty much. I mean, I don't know how he slept on that thing. Okay, when you want to call the nurse's station, when you want to change your TV, turn on your TV, adjust the volume with your TV, it's all through this, this remote, but it's got a speaker on it. Now, this guy, Taylor, liked to watch movies. Didn't matter what time of night it was. He liked to watch them. He'd fall asleep. Now, what I figured was Taylor probably came from a lifestyle where he was used to sleeping with the television on. Now, I've fallen asleep to the TV, but I'm not going to stay asleep with the TV on. At some point, I'm going to click it off, go to bed. Taylor just kept it on. Now, here's what amazed me. He would have it. I don't know how these things, so I've been to hospital rooms, and you have their little remotes, and you can sort of hear the volume for the TV. This guy had it at movie theater volume. I had to listen to movies like Kong versus Godzilla, a couple of Jurassic Park movies. This was the funny part. He watched The Notebook. That surprised me. Notebook was the last movie I expected that guy to watch, but he actually liked the movie, he said. He was a really nice guy. He really was, but he had the volume up so loud that most nights I couldn't. So what I had to do is I was looking for my headphones. I can't find them, but I'd put these headphones on. And I would basically put on, for me, it was praise and worship music because it calms my spirit. So I'd have this music on and I'd listen to it, and I had to listen to it. I had no choice because it was competing against Kong versus Godzilla. And when you hear these movies, when you're hearing them at 2 in the morning, and all you're hearing is the music, dun 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 dun, and people screaming, and then creature, yeah. So I guess you kind of get an idea. This was really brutal. I had to deal with this 4 days. Like I said, he was actually a nice guy. I don't judge the guy. I actually prayed for him because I felt bad for him. He had an arm injury that he came in with. He was expecting to be there like me a day or two. He ended up being there 10. And plus, on top of that, they had to take him to dialysis. So you can kind of imagine how his life must have been for him. And he was looking forward to going home to some big 50-pound pit bull that he told me about. So I'm dealing with this, At one point, I had to call the nurse's station. And I asked him, can you please, I think my roommate is asleep. Can you please turn his volume down? It's a movie theater volume. He was sleeping on top of it. And it still was movie theater volume. They had to wake him and get him to roll over. They could get the dang remote out and turn the volume down. One of the last mornings that I had with him, he decided to turn on the news at 7:10 a.m. Now, I had been awake all night between the nurses coming on, taking my vitals. Also, they would do blood tests, pop in the thing, ow, thank you for sticking that needle in me, or doing things intravenously. I had drugs to kill pain. I was having drugs to basically help keep my stomach from getting upset, which did help, by the way. I had to deal with all that. So, it's hard to get sleep. So when I did finally get to sleep, I was lucky to get an hour or two quality sleep. And that's usually pretty much how it went. So he did finally move out, and I was happy to see him go for the noise factor. They moved in a guy named Fernando, who was a short Hispanic guy, about an inch taller than me, really super nice, quiet man. His family would come visit him every day. His wife especially, he had kids, a couple kids that were older. They'd come over and visit. And I had no beef with it, but at night, he actually slept. Now, here was the part that really got me mad at Tampa General Hospital. Thanks, TGH. I really appreciate you guys. You have a doctor that's working, because I remember he said he works 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., okay? We're both trying to sleep at 3 a.m. this one morning. This doctor comes in, and he's got to do a procedure. He's going to put something, he's going to run toward the guy's heart or something. Basically, something that's about IVs go bad. He was going to run this thing in. This would last months. So he could inject himself and stuff like that. He came in at 3 in the morning. He goes from almost pitch black into the room to broad daylight. And I was awake. And he comes in telling me we're going to put the mask, or not telling me, but telling him, we're going to put the mask over your face. You're going to hear a lot of noise. It's mostly me opening things, and I'll explain things to you. And it'll take about 45 minutes. He lied. It was an hour and 15 minutes. So that was another brutal aspect of trying to sleep. So in addition to that, you can't really see it underneath here, but maybe you can see that little smiley face. That came from, I believe, the 3rd or 4th day they installed the chemo port. Now, I already had the feeding tube installed. That was the biopsy, and they installed that right here in my stomach in the midsection. They installed the port here. They basically explained to me that I'll hear them talking. I will be kind of out of it, but I'll still be somewhat awake. No, I was out like a light, actually. And they installed the port, put the little smiley face in there. So apparently, because they think it's stage 3 cancer because of this port, I'm probably gonna have to do chemo, maybe not radiation therapy, but so at least I got a smiley face. So let's continue on. I just want to kind of let you know about these. So I want to let you know that I was so fortunate. So fortunate. I had at least 10 or 11 visitors. 3 people from coworker, including my former boss, my two former coworkers, because I'm unemployed at the moment. That's another story. So they came to visit me, but I had my brother coming to visit me every night. And I had several people from my church. My church is the real deal. I love these people because, I've been to a million churches, but these people were truly the real deal. And they came to visit me, and I got visited almost every single day. Danny and Sue, thank you. Louisa and your sister Meg, thank you for visiting. Louisa actually sang for me. And not only that, she made me this beautiful prayer shawl. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's absolutely beautiful. Um, and I can't thank her enough. She made that for me. She felt like God wanted her to make it for me, so she did. And I can't tell you how grateful I am that she did that for me. She even sang for me one day, but just having these visitors. And by the way, I want you to know, if you know somebody in the hospital and maybe they're not getting a lot of visitors, maybe they don't have a great support system. I have a fantastic support system. I've had so many phone calls, so many people checking up on me that it's just amazing. I can't believe it. Plus on top of that, I was very grateful to the nursing staff. They'd come in every time. I'd say, hey, thank you for your trouble. Those little things enamored them to me. Please do that if you ever end up in the hospital, because I'm telling you, they will take better care of you. I had a custodian that brought me some of the chipped ice a couple times. I had another guy that was bringing me ice cream, and I don't even know if I was cleared for ice cream, but I still ate it. It was great. So just those little, they will go through trouble for you if you do those things. Just be grateful to them. But I was so grateful for my friends. But here's the number one reason that I'm telling you that I'm grateful. There's people out there dealing with cancer, okay? As far as I'm concerned, God's got me healed of cancer. I'm going to get through this. That's the truth. I believe I'm going to get through this. There's people out there with cancer. They're screaming. They're in pain. They're dealing with things that they can't imagine. And like me, a few months ago, their lives got turned upside down by a surprise. So please have compassion for that person that's in the bed. If you're not the person in the bed, you have compassion for that person. Bring them a balloon like Danny and Sue did. Sonia and Leo brought me a balloon that said "Get well," if I remember correctly. It was either them or Danny and Sue. Well, either way, they brought me a balloon. It was wonderful. Just said "Get well," but you know what? It made my day. Those little things will mean something to those people, especially because they're dealing with the back pain of their bed. They're not able to sleep on their mattress. They're being woke up at all hours by nurses coming in to take vitals, blood pressure, you name it. They're dealing with a lot. So please have compassion for them, because that's what they're going through. They're wanting to go home so bad. But I consider myself so fortunate because I'm not dealing with pain. I've dealt with a lot of discomfort so far. I have not dealt with any true pain. So I can't imagine what it's like to walk in that person's shoes. I will have compassion for that person just because of what I went through. Now with me, it was more back pain. It wasn't what these people dealt with. I did want to add to you, since I got home, here's another aspect that I've had to deal with. They will give you compassion for a person dealing with hospital stays, not just cancer, any of the other ones. Bills. The fact that I'm unemployed, I can pay one of those bills in full. All the other bills that are coming, I'm going to send them a message saying, look, I'm unemployed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you $10 a month. It's not a lot, but they need to understand. Where's the money coming from? I'm going to apply possibly for disability, stuff like that, so that I can get money coming in. I want to pay my debts. I want to pay my bills. But you know what? When you're getting a bill for $253 or a bill for whatever, my friend told me, don't be surprised to get a $50,000 bill from TGH. I hope not. I have Ambetter Silver Insurance. I hope they pay most of it. But I'm sure that there's going to be some money coming out of my pocket. I'm sure of it. So I hope that this video is giving you a little bit of perspective to what I went through. Now, I want you to know I'm so glad to be home, but I'm still having to adjust with this. Now, this machine here, I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not. I have to keep refilling this bag every so often. I have to keep resetting the machine. It's 55 milliliters an hour. It's going to go up to 60 this coming week. I've already had twice this week a home health nurse. I'm going to get twice, two more next week, home health nurse again, and then that's it. I'm on my own. But I want you to know what it's like. Put yourself in the shoes of the person who's in the bed. Like I said, I went from 1972 to just a little over a week ago being the person that was sitting by the bed. And I never had a clue what the person sitting in the bed was. And that included my mother, when she went through open heart surgery, my father when he had to deal with lung surgery because he ended up dying of mesothelioma. All the other friends that I've had to go visit those people, spend time with them, get their minds off of what they're doing, love on them, be their friends. You need it. If you know a great church or you're part of a great church, bring those people to cheer them up too. Do anything to make them happy, whatever it's going to take, but pray for them. Because even if they're not a person that goes to church, trust me, that guy Taylor, I doubt he's been to a church in a long time. I can't speak about this nice gentleman, Fernando, but you know what? I made clear to both of them I was going to pray for him. So appreciative, so appreciative. And in the meantime, I don't want this video to go much longer. I think you kind of got the point of where I was coming from, but I hope that you enjoy this video. I hope that this will open some eyes and that some people will have not just kind of an idea what it's like to be on the other side. By the way, special thanks to the Tampa General's nursing staff, the doctors. Everybody was wonderful to me. And not just my friends, but also the people that were in these rooms every day, even the custodian. Those people even were wonderful. But thank you so much. Have a great day. Fair winds and following seas. We will see you the next video, which, by the way, will be the Witch of Pongo. Have a great day.